All right, all right, all right. It is that time of the week again. Thank you guys for joining us. This is Friday with the Founders. I'm E.R. Wolf, one of the co-founders here at Elify. I'm joined with my business partner, Guy Toole. Thank you for joining us. Super excited to have you guys on. I know, guys, first Friday with the Founders for the first of 2023. So super excited. I've kicked off the year really great. Excited for what the year's going to bring, Guy. Really excited.
I'm talking here with a mute. James, looking dapper.
Always looking dapper.
Hey, so, there's a lot happening behind the scenes over here at Elify. Next Friday, we'll make some type of announcement for a handful of people. It's going to be based on if they're inspired enough to do it for us. But, we talk about our goals, our dreams, and our why. And I sort of want to dig in today. I told ER literally right before we went live that him and I are going to be on the spot today. And we'll see how long we go with it and see if anyone else wants to be on the spot. So, ER.
Yeah.
You've shared a book with the community. Start with why. I started it. I'm about halfway through. And almost every book, it feels like when you go to church and you feel like the message is to you.
Yeah.
Start with why. The message from a business aspect talks to me.
Yep. Me too.
So I want to come in with our why. Mm-hmm. This is our business why. This is the Elify why. Mm-hmm. So just going to ask questions of you, ER. And hopefully this gives us all the information or gives us enough behind the scenes to maybe take it for why they believe in Elify.
Yeah.
So ER, why Elify?
Yeah.
Why did we create Elify?
Man, where do you begin first and foremost? And I think one of the biggest challenges here, and I want to give you your answer. I'm still formulating it in my head as well. But I want to kick off with the book that we're reading, guys. What Guy is referencing is a book that Simon Sinek wrote. Many of you guys, you can Google this guy. Great thought leader, worth absorbing some of his content. And he wrote a book called Start With Why. I think one of the most challenging things for me with articulating my why, and whether that's for my business or for myself, is the why is what drives you from a part of your brain that isn't or doesn't control language. You read this in the book. So it's very challenging for us to express our whys into words, but I will do my best. And Guy, first and foremost, when we created Elify, right, most of you know the mashup. Elify is two words, elevating and simplifying. And my background it's a lot of how do we do things efficiently? How do we do things the right optimal way so we're not wasting time? How do we do things so that we can make forward progress without hitting our head against the wall? Why? Because I hit my head against the wall so many times. Guy, we hit our heads a lot of times, right? And we failed our way to success. But if there are best practices or lessons learned, we want to make that available. And one of the lessons that I learned is that technology early on in my life has so much power to it. And I've referenced this before. And guys, I'm going to go on a little bit of rant because Guy asked the question. I want you guys to understand the path or the journey that takes me to the why for the business. And I recall this story of a guy who's looking at a Time magazine article, and it's got all of these animals. And I think I've mentioned this before, and it's got the speed of every animal, right? And the turtle is sitting there at the bottom or at the top. It's the slowest. And like the cheetah is at the bottom. And there's the guy, the human, the man, the woman, whatever, human beings. And it's like they're somewhere right in the middle. And it's like, okay, here's where we sit on the scale of speed. And the guy who's talking about this story, his name is Ray Kurzweil. You can look him up on this. But he said there was something in that visual that spoke to him. And it was lower down on the chart was a man on a bicycle. And for him, that was the power of the machine, of technology, of some tool to help him go faster or do better than he is by himself. And again, I come back with elevate and simplify, right? Elevate and simplify. How can we do what we want to do more efficiently, optimally, better, and get to where we want to go? And Guy, we always talked about supporting the success of the entrepreneur or the small business owner or the professional. And again, the journey that we've been on to try and hone in what is the why and why are we doing it? And then I read this book, Guy, and I told you this, you said, ER, I'm going to put you on the spot. And then I tried to dig a little bit, like, help me prep a little bit. And Guy did not prep me at all, with the exception of saying, I'm going to ask you the why. And I said, I've already formulated my why and I'm still honing it in. But for me and for the way I think about Elify, especially where we're at right now, the community, the tools, the knowledge, the skills, all of these things that we're working to express to everybody who's part of the Elify community and to the world is really because we want to inspire people to connect and share with the world what inspires them, right? We're all doing things. You have your primary focus, your primary venture, whatever you're passionate about. You guys all have a why. And you're doing it, right? Hopefully you're living it. That's the whole goal. You know what I mean? And what we want to do with Elify and the Elify platform is to allow you to connect and share with other people what your why is, right? How do you do those types of things? Well, again, we've talked about going digital. You've got to, I'm going to call people out because I've developed these relationships with much of the people in this community. I was messaging and I still owe Ruben a text this morning. I saw his responses and I need to look at that. But as an artist, you want to paint the picture of your why and then you want to show it to other people. We want to connect and we want to share. So when I think about the tools or the knowledge or the skills here at Elify that we're trying to get out to the world, it really is like a platform where you can talk about your business, your product, your service, whatever. And again, for Ruben, this might be my art, right? Or this might be my focus on health and wellness, or this might be a technology that I'm working on. All of that stuff is your passion, your why. And if we can support you and inspire you to paint that picture and then give you mechanisms, tools, right? Links or QR codes or NFC cards, all of that's a conduit for you to connect with other people and share that information out. And I think the gap when I talk back on optimization, and Guy, I know this is like a long response, the why is to inspire you to connect and share with the world what inspires you, right? How do you do that and all of the mechanics? That's the how and the what that comes out of that. And if you read the book, you're going to see you start with why, and then it's the how and the what that you end up doing. And this is how and what we do to accomplish that why. So that's what it means to me, Guy. It's empowering and enabling all those things. So when I think about the big picture of Elify, this is why I can envision all these additional tools that we haven't come up with yet that will help us with that connecting and sharing. Like we launched NFC, a year ago? And or QR codes a few years ago? Those are just conduits to share, right? Oh, now somebody can see my painting because they can scan this. And when I think about like the analog way of doing it, the non-digital way of doing it, that's Ruben having an art show and putting his picture on the wall, but only the people who come in the door to the gallery can see it. How do we help Ruben take that off that wall and put it on to the window of the world? Because that's digital. Like we live in a global world right now. So if we can empower people to do that, that is our why. That's what inspires me. That's what makes me get up every single day to just grind it out to support everybody else. That's what inspires me. Now, that's not, I've got my personal whys, Guy, and we could get into some of that, but that's it.
I think, we stay with the Elify. And I'm also off the cuff pulling up the questions that come to me.
Guy, wait, buddy. I don't want this to be all about me. You said we're going to put each other on the spot here. And I see Ruben, yeah. So I want to point over there. This is where he is on my Brady Bunch screen. What is it for you, Guy? What's the why? And I know you just started reading the book. Like, the book was eye-opening for me. I've read or watched some Simon Sinek stuff on YouTube and seen some stuff on Google as it came. And that's what made me want to get the book. So
my why has always been to, and why ER and I are cut from the same cloth, is to inspire.
Mm-hmm.
And why? Because no one else was doing it. No one else. And, it talks about in the book, it talks about first mover advantage, and then someone else sees that you're doing it. I mean, digital business cards, when we first started down the path, ER, there were other companies out there, and there's more that show up. I feel our why and our passion is stronger than every one of those companies.
Yeah, agree.
Because from an inspiration aspect, from building a community to providing something like you're saying to people where they can share with a tap, with a scan, their passions is something that maybe all these other companies have envisioned, but not bringing it into a community fold where there's support, there's the ability to inspire other people. In the book, it talks about how 80% of the workforce does not believe that they are working the job of their dreams.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we're going to struggle as an economy until people start being able to thrive in what they want to do.
Ooh, yeah.
And be able to share. Some people I know are passionate about health and wellness. I'll be honest with you. There's a percentage of the population that is also there, and then there's a percentage that is not. There's maybe aspirations, like I can get up, I have an aspiration of working out, I'll just average it 6 days a week.
Yeah.
But I have to be inspired enough to actually do it. When we run across people that, I'm a trainer, I'm a coach, what differentiates you? Why are you better than someone else? And then you start digging in and you start understanding maybe their true passion. And I think a lot of people's passion is to be able to support or show that there's an alternative way of doing things. And that's a lot of our why with Elify. There's an alternative technology. You talk about, the turtle to the cheetah and the humans right in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the human and the antelope are essentially the ones that can last durations, can go further distances. A cheetah, extremely fast, not very far distances. Slow and steady wins a race from the turtle aspect in some instances. But when we're talking about trying to reach goals, we know it's going to be a long duration, and we have to continue to put one foot in front of the other. That's why we are so passionate about the community, is to provide something almost on a daily basis, to attend, to replay, to rewatch. But I think sometimes we miss the ability to reshare. You know, we talk about and listen to people doing podcasts, and their whole thing is share this to others. This is a great one. Re-listen to this one. You know, I listened to one. Some of you know that I take cold showers. It's because I had the aspiration of getting out of my comfort zone. And I was inspired enough, if you've watched anything or listened about Wim Hof.
Yeah.
And I didn't know Wim Hof's reason of why he did it. His wife committed suicide and he had 4 kids. It's tough. Mm-hmm. So I'm an emotional person. I wear it on my sleeve. And it's almost like I'm doing it in support of what his message is. And it inspired me enough to do it. So in the whole grand scheme of Elify, it's to bring a community of people who want to inspire. And the only way we can inspire is to talk about it, is to share it.
Yep.
And so that leads me into our next why, ER. Why do we offer, market, sell Elify solutions in the manner that we do?
Yeah.
Why did we do affiliate ambassador compared to a direct sale?
Yeah. I mean, this is a big one, guys. And I think this goes back, Guy, to what you were just talking about. And I truly believe in your why is to inspire. You inspire me all the time. And I think that's why I'm so blessed to have you as a partner, because you are a coach. You've been a coach. You've looked at people and you've said, hey, I see potential in you, and you may not see it in yourself, but I'm going to show you that you have potential and help you believe in that potential so that you can move forward. And I think that's something that we both believe in. It's that everybody has the potential to move forward and to make change and to be the best version of themselves. And I think one of the first things, and to go into the answer of your question, is, is the way that is prescribed to people the only way or the best way? And I've always grown up in a questioning environment. My parents allowed me to ask a lot of questions all the time. Why? My kids do that now too. Like, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do that? And instead of just pacifying them or telling them to stop asking, I feel like I always take time to answer the question so that they can grow and develop. And many of you know this or have heard this about my story. Early on, early 2000s, right, guys? I'm going to paint the picture. The .com bubble had just happened, but the internet age was just starting out. We had just shifted from things like dial-up modems. I'm going to date myself, right? Anybody remember those, right? Images downloading, guys. Something like this platform where we're on a video with everybody from our own homes. This didn't exist in 2000, right? This didn't exist in the 90s. Social networking hadn't happened. I had just had a sports injury, and Guy, you and I talk about this. We all have these visions, these dreams, and these passions that we paint for ourselves, that we sort of project out of ourselves of how we see the future of our life. And then we also encounter these hardships that are sometimes outside of our control that change everything, sometimes in the blink of an eye. And that's happened to me several times throughout my life. And just one of those instances was as a Division I athlete. And just in a blink of an eye and a snap, I was no longer going to be a college football player, right? So I had to adjust and repaint that whole projection of what I thought my life would be. So I transferred schools and got into technology. And just like I like to pour myself into the things that I'm working on, I did it when I was an athlete. I now did it with this new thing, technology. And I learned some things. It was eye-opening. And it wasn't that the way that was being prescribed was wrong. It was that there was potentially a better way. And that was eye-opening for me, Guy. So I'm going to, bring this in a second here. But for those who haven't heard this story, I got into online marketing, affiliate marketing. And you have to imagine these kids in their early 20s, essentially sitting in what I like to refer to as the dorm room. But we were sitting in a nice condo on the golf course, playing in front of computers, collecting what we called mailbox money. And all we were doing was driving eyeballs from people who were searching for things online to the people who were selling those things. We didn't even sell anything at that point. We were just connecting searchers or buyers with sellers. And money was coming in. And I had to explain to my parents, who had said this my whole life, right? Go to school, get a good job, work that job for 40 years, invest 10% of that every single month from the time you're 18 till the time you're 65. And this is the path to the American dream. And here we were, 20-somethings, playing on our computer, collecting six figures. Try to have that conversation. And they're like, I just don't get it, this internet thing. I mean, guys, don't you realize the .com just busted? Like, what are you guys still doing online? So that was a huge thing in saying there are multiple paths to get from point A to point B. If we're going from LA to New York, we can do a bunch of different things to get there. And instead of everybody saying the only way to get there is to walk, again, what I was talking about earlier, it's like, wait a second, flight would be nice. It'd get us there faster, more efficiently, direct line. I mean, we could even drive if we wanted to. Ride a bike, right? Take a bus, take a train. All of those are going to be an advantage over walking. So for me, that was a huge eye-opener, that this affiliate marketing thing online was massively powerful. And Guy, you're asking this one question, but I'm going to elaborate again, because I think there's this context that people need to understand. I was like, oh my goodness, my friends who were still following the traditional path, I would call them up and I'd say, hey, I'm going to go skiing. It's a Wednesday. I live in Colorado. We've got great slopes, right? I see Anna nodding her head. You know what I mean? It's the ski mecca of a state in the United States, And I was skiing about 70 days of the year, when most people get to ski 3 or 4 times. And what I realized is my friends weren't able to come with me. They were busy working their jobs or doing those things. And I was making mailbox money. And I thought to myself, I had to acquire some knowledge. I had to acquire some skills. I had to use some tools, and I could write my own ticket. And if I could figure out a way to make that channel, that path, more accessible to more people, then more people could come along with me. It's this abundance mentality that we always talk about. It's not like, hey, I'm going to take all of the affiliate marketing for myself, and I'll just be up here while everybody's down here. It's, how do we bring everybody along with us? How does the high tide raise all ships? And so for me, I was like, wow, not everybody is nerdy like me, technical like me, analytical like me, right? I don't want to focus on like one quadrant of personality types. And so when you and I were talking, and I remember this, right? Some of you will come to find out Guy and I were roommates. And I would be up late at night working on my whiteboard, and Guy would be up late and he'd come into the room and we'd have a conversation and we'd spit ideas back and forth and we'd scribble stuff on the board and we'd flush things out. And I said, Guy, there are some fatal flaws to traditional affiliate marketing. You have to drive a massive amount of eyeballs. Back in the day, we used to have to drive millions of eyeballs. And we've talked about this, Jeff. I know on some of the calls we've talked about this, right? You've got to have an open rate, a click-through rate, a conversion rate. Well, if you're getting like 3 to 5%, you got to start with a big number, because 3 to 5% of that big number is a smaller number, and so on and so forth. And yet at the end of the day, it was still a nice income. How do we solve for that? Because not everybody can drive large eyeballs. And so we were looking at all of these mechanisms of business and understanding that leverage was this massive part. Now, again, leverage, you guys know this if you've been around with Elify for a while. We talk about leverage. Leverage is powerful. Leverage is what a lot of businesses use. Even probably every Fortune 500 company uses leverage. If you guys can give me a reference to a company that does not use leverage, and I'll tell you right now, like, employees are leverage, right? I mean, an employee does not make what they help the company make. They make a fraction of it. So leverage was this critical component. I said, there needs to be a way for people to have leverage, because if they can't do it themselves, they need to do it as a team. And again, in my athletic background, I've played individual sports, I've played team sports. Trust me, it's much funner to have a band of brothers or sisters who come alongside you and work together to do their roles and achieve success. And I've got championship rings, Guy, I know you do too, that support that thesis. So leverage was critical. And I told Guy the other fatal flaw to affiliate marketing and to a lot of businesses, in my opinion, is residual compensation. I want to do something one time, and I want to get paid for it over and over and over again. And I always use this example of like the singer who sings into the microphone, right? They record that track one time. They put in that hard work of recording that track. And then every time it plays on the radio, hate to break the news to most people, it's not them singing live on the radio. It's them playing the track over and over and over again. And there are so many different other examples of residual compensation. And I said, wow, if you could have something that allowed, like an affiliate program that allowed for residual compensation and leverage, but get rid of some of these attributes that I saw as fatal flaws of, say, direct sales or network marketing, things like ranks or achievement, or all of some of these things that are pitfalls for some people. Again, we're trying to optimize average success. You could have something amazing here. And that was the conversation Guy and I had over a decade ago, where we're like, if we could just give a path, a better way for people to participate in this business mechanism, they could write their own ticket, much like I had written my own ticket, because it's no fun being there alone, being on the ski resort alone. And then what are we going to provide? Well, let's provide people tools. We've heard this on Tech Tuesday. We've heard this on Thursday calls. We don't want to be the miners, guys. We want to be the people who sell the picks and the shovels to the miners. We want to be the lumber company that sells the lumber to help people build houses, right? That's where the power comes in, to be the helper and to come alongside people, as Guy and I were talking about the why, and to inspire them to connect and share with the world what inspires them. You know what I mean? And so we said, look, great, these tool things are great. Again, there are a lot of these components, Guy, that I could come along with, and this is why we did this. This is why we did this. This is what, guys, what I love about software as a service. What I love about software as a service, and this will come back to my why on time, is we sell time. We sell a username and a password to somebody so that they can come in and use our technology. And if they find value in our technology, they have to pay us every month to use it. And all of us on here are users of the technology. So I'm going to be transparent with you guys. That's how the business mechanism works with software as a service. And to Guy's point, again, long story short, we could sell this direct to consumer. There are plenty of other companies out there. Let's go build some ads. Let's, position the ads to convert. Let's go out and put them in front of 1 million eyeballs and let's buy the traffic. But again, coming back to the why, Guy, I don't want to be sitting there at the top looking down and everybody else is still struggling. The whole goal, and maybe this is me being raised and my mommy saying, hey, if you're ever successful, make sure to turn around and give back. Our way of giving back is to open up an opportunity to everybody where you can come alongside us and you can stake your claim in whatever you help the greater community. Elify. It's not ER and Guy, guys. This is Elify as a community be more successful. And if everybody could stake their claim in that, and I've used the Facebook and story many times, could you imagine right now, because Facebook exists, it's made Mark Zuckerberg one of the top 10 richest people in the entire world. He's got more money than he'll ever spend in his lifetime. That's why he gets into philanthropy and gives. And hey, I commend him for doing that, right? But ask yourself this question. If he'd have taken a portion of the ad revenue that that Facebook gets, because guys, that's what we are on Facebook. We are not the customer. We are the product. If you haven't realized it now, you are the product of Facebook. The customer is the advertiser. They have to put ads in front of us in order to give us Facebook for free. They are selling you. If they'd have turned around and said, hey, great, we're selling you, and everybody you bring in, because we all brought friends into Facebook, at least I brought a ton in the early days. That ripple impact, I didn't see a dime of that. What if they'd have turned around and taken that ad revenue and distributed it out to everybody who had built the network? And that's really what we're talking about here with Elify. We're building a community. We're building a network. And we're going to do it together on the backs of each other, on the shoulders of giants who've come before us to lay out all of these little things. And when we do that, we all get to participate in the impact that we have. That's it, Guy.
Got it.
Sorry. Again, guys, you know me, I got the gift of gab.
All good. My why for why we did it goes back to, I guess, my why of Elify, and it goes to the inspiration and goes to building leaders. We wanted to make a shift in a way that so many people are unhappy. I mean, if it's that statistic of 80% of people aren't working their dream job, finding a way to give them a way to be a leader of what they want to do, of what they want to share. Leaders lead, leaders support, they inspire, they share, they empower, they build community. And one of the biggest things from an affiliate aspect is they encompass. They bring people in. They support, they show, they share. I mean, it's everything that I just said is why we went down that path. There's also a methodology, James, I saw earlier in a comment of cost, right? Look at the story of why Apple started, right? From a computer aspect, they only control about 6% of the market. Mm-hmm. It's not much, but they're about inspiring people. To be individual one of the first companies to allow you to purchase a computer and have in your home. Computers were extremely expensive. Mm-hmm. If we went direct to consumer, there's a good chance, I know a lot of you feel that the power and the solutions within Elify can be sold at a much higher cost. Some of these other companies out there that do digital business cards, period, QR codes, period, type cards, period, they're higher cost. Who are they serving? It's not really the community. To be able to have solutions that you can network and build community, but in turn have a community, I think is as powerful as anything out there, anything that there can be. And it's all of us as leaders at Elify to be able to participate in that aspect, I guess, if that's the correct word. Yeah. That's the why with the affiliate path, the ambassador path, is, again, falls back to inspire us as an affiliate, inspire others. So I know those were only a couple questions, and we can get into them a little deeper, and we're starting to get hands raised. So we'll sort of pause with that from the aspect of the why Elify, why the affiliate program or ambassador program. We'll go to the questions, and then, you know, I think to sort of end it for today, when we're done, is ask yourself from an Elify aspect, why? And is that inspiring enough for us to participate? Everything comes for reasons. See if I can find my screenshot that I took. I know last week in our networking event, I talked about people that are interested in growing their business compared to being obsessed. I got one from Soul Vibes today. Effort is a direct reflection of interest. Remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Your interest will determine your effort. So, Jeff, you've been patient. You have your hand up. Feel free to join in.
No, I'm just listening in, but it isn't a question to start off. It's a commendation to both of you for willing to do that, because a lot of people, like you said, don't know how to express their why, and I struggle with that every day, learning how to being a person who loves telling stories. But then I sometimes, like everybody, struggle to sort of find those words that really take what's in our heart and our minds and our souls and say, it's there, the fire's there, but I can't. But I thought you two guys did a great job. So thanks for doing that, number one. Number two, hopefully you got my messages about something, because if we're talking technology and helping Elify grow next year, I've done a little digging into a software platform that I've known about for a long time. I know it's there. And I think, and again, I'm going to throw this out there and we can have sort of a discussion. I have it opened up if you want me to share my screen, but when the two of you are coming into my group next week to share Elify, shuffle in whatever the hell you want to. I don't care. You guys will have the floor. I'll just stand back and get out of the way. But of my 160 people in an entrepreneurial group that I've been sort of horribly negligent to over the years, I'm reigniting that group. And so I thought, how, again, having my own video call platform, I didn't want to do Zoom and bring you in using a platform. You know, I don't have a problem using multiple platforms, but I didn't want to do that inside of a group that is a value-based group that I'm sharing skills, knowledge, and software of many kinds. Some of the people in the group want to do more email marketing. Well, then I got to talk about a platform that I personally prefer, and that I won't give it away, but I have one, or there's a lot of good ones. And just like when I bring you guys in, it's a chance to showcase one that I'm passionate about, right? And so I thought, what's the best way to get you guys on there that will actually stream live into the group where I can literally have both of you on, and also we can share screen. And I don't know, how many of you guys know about StreamYard? I've known about it for a long time. My question is this, and again, it's just a question, Guy Niar. Should these calls in the future, could or would you consider you got how many people in the Elify Insiders group that to get on this call, I think about what I have to do, knowing about the calls, being a regular. Sometime like today, I saw the notification and I love that. Some days I'm clicking around. I couldn't get into the Wednesday, like I can't find I have to go into the group and then search for week at a glance and this and that. And again, I could make it easier on myself. The point is this, we all get busy. We all have trouble finding a link. So my question is this, there are people that will listen in, but there's a commitment to show up. Here you have to go into the group or whatever, click on a Zoom link, then come in and then click this, and this inside of Zoom. And then you guys eventually let us in. What if this call right now, your front end thing that you do through YouTube was being streamed into the Elify Insiders and the Elify affiliate group simultaneously, where they could see you guys and then have us, your customers, giving testimonials like, oh my God, if I didn't have, look how I use Elify. And they're like, shit, I liked that, I just kind of sat back like a mouse in the group and I kind of overheard about this. And then this guy named James started talking about how he does this and I can relate to that guy. Oh, and then there's this Anna, and all of a sudden they relate to either the owners, but then they also relate to just clowns like me that are like, you know what, I found this crazy little app that I send out. That's a question. That's a big, long question. But is that possible that we could get these calls streaming into the group so people could passively go, hey, and then they just hit their button and they sit back and watch, but they don't actually engage and join the meeting and the chat and do all that, because most people like to just sit back and kind of watch and listen. Then they slowly, you know what I mean? They're in the baby pool. Let's bring them from the baby pool and then bring them into the actual call. I'll shut up.
First of all, Jeff, I'd love your help in that. That's the goal, right? That's the intent. We want to get the word out there, right? I always say it's about progress, not perfection. We're failing our way to success in everything that we do, in my opinion. And we have to be willing to learn, grow, make changes, and advance forward. We've had StreamYard before. Guy, you and I both know that. We tried it a little bit. We're not experts. We're just ourselves, guys. We're just trying to be who we are authentically. So if anybody has insight to help make that happen, that's the whole call to action, right? We want you guys to come alongside us and support us in making that happen. Right now, this is being streamed to YouTube. I see it up there. It says live YouTube. But to your point, I want to make it live for everybody. Guy and I spent a little bit of Q4 and some of this first week talking about how are we going to change what we've been doing, right? Because we talk about this iterative process. It's do, right? Action. You got to do the do, right? Action. Then you have to have a retro. Let's look back on the action that we made and the progress that it helped us move forward. And then let's make adjustments to the processes or the systems that we have in place so that we can make a greater impact or a greater change or be optimal in the way we move forward as well. So one of the things Guy and I have talked about is how we're going to shift up what we did in all of 2022 from the 5 daily calls. Okay. And I don't know if Guy and I are ready to release out what we've discussed on that, but one of those items has been more of a broadcast focused, us getting the word out so that other people can consume it and doing it in the most number of channels possible, exactly like you're talking about, Jeff. So this is something that I really want to explore as we go into 2023, sooner rather than later as well. I don't know what platform, and I agree and commend you guys. There are so many platforms out there, right? And some of them do different things. I know like a challenge on Zoom here is you only get to stream live to one thing. I think StreamYard lets you do 2 or 3. Again, 5. Yeah. I mean, so now it's getting better. So maybe we have to go back and look at that StreamYard. I think there are other things like us versus us having you guys come in and being able to participate. The open room or the broadcast versus the closed environment. There are times where we're on calls, guys. We stop the live stream. Because we know our focus is also about the community and it's us coming together. And look, if you're not part of the community, you get this much, but you don't get this much. So I think it's trying to find the best balance for all of that stuff and the best tools to accomplish it. I hope that answers your question.
Well, so here's what I would like to say. Can I share this? I just want to show you a snapshot of what I've done to present you guys for next week. I just got to get a time set, but I'm going to show you what we can start doing, what all of us can do to help grow the eyes on you guys each week. Can I just show a quick screenshot?
I think you'd like to go ahead.
Okay, so I have this tab opened up, and again, I went to one of my people that I really get a lot of respect from, and I could not believe how simple it is. I have a free account with StreamYard, right? And that's all I need. So all I did is I went into my 2 groups, literally as an admin. You guys go into your groups, add the app, and I've done apps inside of groups before, so I'm comfortable with it. Once I added I have 2 groups that I personally run, and I can run the call, but the call is specific to my group that is just, open to hearing about Elify and tools and stuff. So Grow Faster in 2023, Meet Elify co-founders. So I've actually got the title. I can add more descriptions. I've got your logo. I could put a picture of the 2 of you guys here. I can do whatever I want here. I got the date, create broadcast. Click that button. And now the group that you already have contained inside the family of Elify is the 2,000, I don't know how many thousands of people are in the Elify group, but now you just run the TV show live into your groups. You guys own those groups. And now all of a sudden they're I don't care how you do it, you broadcast or have us talk. I mean, you can still do your calls, but people can just passively, it pops up in their phone. And I guarantee you'll have 10 times more eyes on these calls than what we're currently doing. So I'm going to sample it. With you 2 as my guest next week. If you like how it performs, then I think we should discuss collaborating. Well, you don't have to collaborate. It's just software that gets it out to more people. So that's all I wanted to show you.
I think that's the goal, Jeff. I appreciate you for sharing that. I think one of the things, and I want to come back to Guy, what we were talking about earlier, and then James will get over to you. One of the biggest challenges, guys, from an organizational standpoint that I want everybody to realize, right? I'm just one person. You're just one person. You're just one person, right? But when we come together, we're a team. And I think it's that team sport mentality. Together, everyone achieves more is the acronym. As I like to say, that is so powerful. Because here's the reality. All of us as individuals cannot do everything, but collectively as a team, we can accomplish anything. And one of the things when we come back to this, start with the why, and then there's the how and the what. Sometimes it's the team that helps us implement how we're going to express our why out and what we're going to do. You know what I mean? So it's just like, the people out there who are leveraging a broadcasting company or a software solution or a team of individuals or a VA to support. We're in that process of putting all of those things together as we hone the path of accomplishing our whys. And so if any of you feel like you have skill sets that can help contribute to that, we all don't have to have the exact same skills and apply them in the exact same ways. We have to identify what our individual superpowers are and then bring those superpowers to the table so that we can support each other. Here's a good example of that, guys. My goal of meeting 1,000 people in 2023 isn't to help necessarily me only focus on building Elify. It's to help me focus on overcoming a shortcoming that I see in myself because I have social anxiety. In this environment that we're on right now with this community of friends and family members, in my opinion, it's easier for me to be public facing. If I had to go and stand up on a stage or do public, guys, I've done it before. Crowd of several hundred people. I remember I got through it. Then I had a massive anxiety attack. You know what I mean? I was just like, oh no, I'm working on myself. So that's not a superpower of mine. Social media, I struggle with that because of that, right? Because I want to be safe in my own bubble and not share that out to the world. And yet I'm identifying that and I've got one of 2 choices and I'm doing both in parallel. I need to work on that within myself. But guys, there are some shortcomings we don't always have to work on. Instead, we have to find other people who can come in and fill that gap. And in my opinion, when we do that thing in tandem together, that's when we start to see the magic happen. That's when, I hate to use a term that I think gets overused. That's when those synergies happen, right? Where the sum is greater than the individual parts. So I definitely want to dig into that, Jeff. I really appreciate you hosting Guy and I think we can flush a lot of that out. And then I want to learn as much as I can and find, the knowledge and the resources to come back in and help do that so that we can expand Elify together. That's the mission.
Right.
Guy, I know you got some additional thoughts, and then we can jump over to James.
I think, we're talking like it's starting to come out. We're expressing the community aspect of why we wanted to be able to do this, is bringing us all together to say, support us in this element. We're supporting here, that those different types of things, but then it in tandem goes to everyone else. I truly believe that our thoughts aren't our own. Our thoughts are a higher being telling us to do something, and it's either we're going to be doing it or we're not, and sometimes there's another being that's fighting against what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish. And we all know that there's a path, there's a better path, and there's opportunity available for us as leaders in Elify to express and share that and get it out to others. So I really like that aspect, Jeff, from the aspect of here we have StreamYard. That's an idea that we can look at, a grand type of thing. And it's probably going to be a ways is we'll be watching these within the Elify platform. We'll be participating with these within the Elify platform, is where you will consume the information of saying a mastermind or those different types of things. And you get a notification from the app that we're live and you're in it. You click it, you go to it, you view it. So those are things that we want to work towards, and we're working towards them. So James, you've been patient.
Thank you. I appreciate it, everybody. Hey, just want to say I'm glad everybody's here today. Let me go ahead and load my hand. You got me. I want to go back on the questions you guys were asking originally about why.
Yeah.
And a lot of the answers you guys gave were perfectly good. And I got to ask all of us ourselves, hey, you know what? Why are we into this? Why are we doing this? I know my mission and my goal, I coach, but one thing that I do is my price point for my coaching is extremely dirt cheap. And Elify just complemented the standard I wanted to give out. I got offered a chance to join a coaching training that could teach me how to make a $250,000 more a year. But in order to do that, I would have to charge my clients a couple thousand more a session. I turned it down because that's not why I'm doing this. That's not what my goal is. And I put a post in here. We are currently at 32.5 million small businesses in the United States. It makes up 99.9% of all businesses in the US. So the cost that what Elify is at complements and fit into almost 100% of every business that we have. Those Fortune 500s can afford the $50,000 a month marketing in whatever platform they have. That is their Fortune 500s. But the accountability, the bottom line, blue collar, mom and pop, solopreneur, entrepreneur, mom or whatever they want to call, can't afford that yet. And when they are able to afford that, they'll be able to spread it across. James's mind frame is this: to lower inflation, increase the economy, increase more businesses and more successful people in business. That will help offset the cost of everybody else is trying to pay so much we can get down one level. So I know somebody put in, I think Anna put about philanthropy. You're a billionaire, what can you do to give back? Well, I don't want to give up my money. Well, you're not giving up your money, you're giving up your assistance to financial to help people grow. That's something that you two guys have done. And I told you before in the talking, I'm like, I know you guys, I know this because I've been in this field a while, that you guys could charge quadruple of this on the basic. That's the basic level. and 10 times that for the premium. And it's worth it. But the fact that you keep it at a level that's cost effective for everybody, I applaud that. And I appreciate that. So I just want to comment on the why and the cost and state the fact that what Jeff was saying as far as the StreamYard, I use it myself for one of my fields. It does help out and get a bigger grouping. We get a lot of audience. But one thing I start thinking about is, well, if you're putting it on Facebook, you put it on YouTube, you put it on LinkedIn, well, I can just watch it there. I believe in, those who take the time to log in and show up to work should get the benefits. That's just me. We all have paid for coaching, and we paid for one-on-ones, and we've done all that. And the one-on-one coaching we got, but we expanded our business. If I can sit here and be like Joe Smo and just listen to you guys, and I can just limit, I'll be back live. I can just catch you later. Like, I appreciate it that at the end of the quarter, you guys say, you know what, we're going to stop doing so much stuff live the whole time and make it worthwhile for those who want to get involved. I've been approached by a couple of people who are asking, hey, why don't you join us in doing this and doing that endeavor? And I listened to the question, okay, why am I here? Oh, because of what I bring and how I do it, you want to duplicate it or steal it for yourself. So do not allow anybody to use you without paying you for what you do. Back to you.
I appreciate that, James, and thank you much for that insight, especially on the small business statistics. Again, I want to come back to a little bit of my story as we round down today's Friday with the founders, and kick it off, guys. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. So one of those 32 million businesses that James talks about, that's me, right? That may be you, right? That may be many of us on this call. And for those of you who don't know, right, I've got multiple master's degrees. That's when you go to university, then you go up and you keep going and you keep going. And then all of a sudden they give you a piece of paper. And one of my master's degrees is in business administration, MBA, right? Everybody's heard of what an MBA. My focus during that study was in entrepreneurship, right? How do businesses get started? And certain businesses will start big, right? They raise big capital, they have big spend, but a majority of businesses, to James's point, 99.9% of registered businesses are small businesses. And they represent, in my opinion, the backbone of the economy. They are, in essence, the U economy, when you think about it, because it is the small business. And one of the things that I learned in school, which probably drove my why more than anything else, was the fact that there's a massively bad, horrible failure rate of people who start small businesses, because it takes a lot of different components to be successful at business. And most people who start businesses, maybe they don't have all the knowledge or all the skills required to be successful. If we can give a conduit to fill in, not all of the gaps, guys, because we can't be all things to all people, but some of those gaps that then help increase the odds of success. And you guys have heard this before, like the average small business that starts is going to, 50% of them are going to fail within the first 2 years. 80% of them are going to fail within the first 3 years. Of the ones that succeed, there's still a big percentage that fails. I mean, count yourself as some of the lucky few if you've avoided becoming a victim of those statistics, because that's the exception rather than the rule. And if we want everybody to be exceptional, we need to start making an impact on what we do that might change those statistics. And I think that plays into that why of how can we help and inspire others to be as successful as possible, right? So James, I want to thank you for that, because that's part of the mission. Now, Ruben, I know you've got your hand up. Anna, you've got your hand up. Guy, you've got something you want to add? I'll kick it over to you, and then we'll start to wind things down with these last two questions. Unless anybody else, last call for a hand up. Otherwise, Anna, you're going to be the last one.
So just real quick from that aspect, ER's why I've teamed up with ER. He's the smartest person I know. Period. And it's educational. He's always learning. He's learning things all the time. He's sharing them with me. I'm the one that I consume it through ER from his knowledge. And then if I want to do more, I go off and do the research for myself. But, from an education aspect, ER has the know-how and the knowledge to go do all these things. And I've also got a higher education, but I'm not doing what I got my degree in because I wanted to be able to inspire, and my desire to do something different is what has driven so much to this. ER in the Start With Why, it talks about flight. And there were two groups sort of going after flight. One had all the education, all the backing, had considerable amount of large investment at that time, in 1903 of $50,000, and had so much media about them. And then you have two brothers had no education, who simply just had a desire and inspired a community. And who took the flight first. That's it. It's the desire. It's the inspiration. That's why we do a lot of what we do. So just wanted to add that to it as well. Ruben.
Ruben, go ahead.
We'll come to you.
Okay. Again, guys, we're all in here. I'm not dealing with robots. I'm dealing with human beings. Metaverse is going to be coming up with a headset, guys, teaching our kids how to connect with avatars. And the avatars are hugging each other. Now, come on, let's get real. I'm still real. So I have to, the reason why I'm excited about what ER and Guy and all of you guys are involved in is this platform is, number one, we learning. I just asked Mike Snow what he thought about StreamYard, and he has some experience in it. Now, I'm learning right now, I'm reading Effortless. And one of the things I want to learn on this book is how to make your offer the obvious choice for your prospects. There's so much we can learn and do. And with the knowledge of all of us here, my gosh, it's a winning recipe, guys. So again, my pleasure to be involved in this group. If I can contribute in any way for whatever my skill sets are, I'm certainly available. Thank you.
I love that, Ruben. Anna, right before we get to you, I want to talk about this other thing. There are all these components. Again, there's a reason why at Elify we've tried to do all of these things. There's some explanation. And Ruben, to your point, Guy always says the world isn't going to get any less digital, but it's still online and there's still going to be offline. Right. And we can't forget that. So there are components that we work on within Elify that support connecting and sharing, as I mentioned in my why, both online and offline. Many of you picked up one of these. This is one of our newest things, right? This is not an online solution, guys. Here, hold out your phone. Let me tap it. It ain't going to work. You know what I mean? So there are things that contribute to both the online and the offline. And then we've said this ad nauseum before. It's about taking high tech and connecting it with high touch. Because to Ruben, your point, it's about relationship. This is why community, this is why networking, this is why working together as a team, all of these components are so valuable, is because there's a high touch component. Guys, when I told you the background, early 2000s, do you know how many customers I talked to while making six figures from a computer? This many. Zero. Right? It was all automated. It was great. You know what I mean? I'm not going to dispute that. But the reality was, when I looked at the numbers, I was only impacting about 3 to 5% of the people we were engaging with. What about the other 95%? You can't automate relationship. You can't automate connection. You can't automate know, like, and trust. That's what this is all about. Okay, Anna, you get the chance to start to wind us down or wrap things up. So go ahead. You're the last one.
Well, as an SBA award winner and understanding the small business market for over 40 years, I can tell you that small businesses has always been in the 98th percentile of all businesses in the USA. There are 5 things that every small business needs, not necessarily can afford, but this is one of them Get those folks online. Over 80% of them are not online in any format. So please reach out to them and get them on these calls, because there are other skills and tools available here. So thank you. That's it. I've got a 3-way call to get on to. Love you guys.
Thank you,
Thanks for-
Anna. Thank you, Anna. No, I appreciate that, guys. And Anna's right. I mean, people need this. And it's our responsibility as a community to come together to support in getting the word out, right? To use our why, our how, and our what as the megaphone to share with the world what we're working on, and everything else comes as a result of that. And here's what I want to close with, Guy, and then any housekeeping that you have. We didn't talk a single bit outside of the economics of the price of truly, James, to the point where we never want cost to be the reason why somebody doesn't use one of our solutions. We didn't spend any time at all talking about making money. I want that to sink in, because we've been on here for a little bit over an hour. I didn't tell you about getting rich or having more money than you could ever spend, unless I was using the Zuckerberg example. You know what I mean? Money and the income, guys, is a result of what happens when we do our why. It's the result. It's not the goal. And to date, Guy, it has never been the goal for us. I know that the addressable market is out there, guys. We can look at the numbers on that. 32 million in the United States, 100 million small businesses worldwide. You can pick different industries. We can talk about business cards or QR codes or NFC or business networking and how big those markets are. That's the opportunity that we all can go after. But the goal is to make the impact. So with that being said, Guy, I'll kick it over to you. We'll wind this Friday with the founders down. And again, I want to thank you all for giving us a little bit of your time today. Hopefully you got something out of it. And if you did, ask yourself why you're here and why do you think other people should be here as well? Guy, go ahead.
Well, we're getting a lot of comments in here. So Mike Snow, people are looking for a mic drop, knowledge, leadership, whatever. Well, James is doing this, but I see Ruben, Jeff, Jay have all asked. You have anything you want to add in for today, Mike?
Not really. I was just watching StreamYard, used it years when it first kicked out. I played around with it and I linked, and it does work. All I'll tell you, just like anything else, once you start it, you can't stop it. You must keep it going, else it all just goes away. You start going like we're doing this right now. ER and Guy is doing this. You got to be consistent every week on time. You miss one, that is the week I show up. I don't think you're real anymore. I don't come back. You must be there. And that's the thing. You take that on. Yes, I'm going to go live. Understand there's only 24 hours in a day. That's going to take up some of your time. Be ready for it.
Absolutely.
The mic drop, guys. I agree with that 100%. Mike, as always, thank you for the contribution. You're like Guy to me. You're one of those people who just listens, processes, and then comes back out and gives us some gold. So appreciate that, guys. I appreciate every one of you. If you need anything, like we put our information freely out there, reach out to us in the community, reach out to us directly. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll still refill over the weekend, and we will see you guys back on Monday. Guy, anything last to add? Or are we good to go? Awesome.
Be consistent.
Take care, everybody.